This is commentary on Lesson 88 in the Workbook for A Course in Miracles. We are in the second review where we are reviewing two ideas for the day, the first part of the day. One of them, which is 75, the light has come. And in the second half of the day, we'll review the second one, which is I'm under no laws but God's. And so we have one long practice period, about 15 minutes, with each of these, and then frequent reminders throughout the day, and then response to temptation when we've been tempted to lose our peace. So the longer practice period is one in which we read over the lesson, think about it, and get our mind focused into that thought, and then from that place in the mind, we listen quietly for a message that's waiting for us. It's a piece of guidance just for us to move us along in our learning. If the mind won't quiet down and it's hard to just listen, then we can come back, read the lesson again, get the mind focused, and then go back to listening. So in this set of lessons, the practical aspect of the Course's concept of time is highlighted. It's a theme that's been emphasized throughout the set of lessons, and this is part of it. The light has come, and then I think the last two are that this let me recognize the problem, and then let me recognize the problem is over. So this is part of what makes the Course practical and profound, is that it's saying we have this illusionary self that's not loving, that we invented, and that it seemed to have replaced our self of love. And in that invented self, it seems to be burdened with the past that we're trying to solve all our problems from that illusionary self, and waiting for the future to have various situations, personalities, things change, so we're going to be fulfilled and okay. So, but to say that self doesn't exist could seem, well, it could seem very abstract, and it's a metaphysical proposition. So what the Course does is, in beginning to question our illusions of ourselves, it begins our questioning with our concept of time. And in the Course's view, time is something that happened all at once for a brief instance. And so this one self fragmented into a million pieces, and each, or infinite set of pieces, and each of those pieces was a mistaken view of that one love. And then from that invention, God gave us the Holy Spirit to correct each one of those little mistakes, and that already happened. So that itself can even seem abstract. Like, what do you mean there's no time, there's no past, there's no future? Well, what the Course does is get us to see that the only meaningful sense of time is the present. And it's in the present that we see, first of all, the real problem, this invented self, that's the real problem. And in the present we see that error, mistake has already been corrected. And so the correction for that one mistake, and therefore all of its forms, is already there in the mind. So pragmatically what that does is that as we go through our life, and we're waiting for a solution, that we can stop for a moment and say, okay, well, let me come into the present, let me come into the holy instant. And some experience through forgiveness or miracles will give us a sense of that loving self that's there right now, that thing we thought we lost, and therefore a problem solved. And then we can go forth in time, seemingly go forth in time, with this present certainty about who we are, and we can share that true self with everything. So let's look at chapter 26, the transition, section 5, the little hindrance. And these two paragraphs explains this. So it says, God gave his teacher, starts here in paragraph 3, God gave his teacher, meaning the Holy Spirit, to replace the one you made, not to conflict with it. So the one we made is the ego. We made up the ego, and now the ego seems to be teaching us who we are. So God's already replaced that, not to conflict with it. And what he would replace has been replaced. Time lasted but an instant in your mind, with no effect upon eternity. And so is all time past, and everything exactly as it was before the way to nothingness, the ego, was made. The tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made, and all of them within that one mistake, held also the correction for that one, and all of them that came within the first. And in that tiny instant time was gone, for that was all it ever was. What God gave answer to is answered and is gone. All right, so then it goes on to say, to you who still believe you live in time and know not it is gone, the Holy Spirit still guides you through the infinitely small and senseless maze you still perceive in time, though it is long since gone. You think you live in what is past. Each thing you look upon, you saw but for an instant long ago, before its unreality gave way to truth. So saying each thing we see here, that we look upon, we saw it for an instant long ago, before its unreality gave way to truth. And not one illusion still remains unanswered in your mind. Uncertainty was brought to certainty so long ago that it is hard indeed to hold it to your heart as if it were before you still. So in this lesson, the light has come. It's saying, in choosing salvation rather than attack, I merely choose to recognize what is already there. Salvation is a decision made already. It's already happened. Our acceptance of the miracle, acceptance of forgiveness. And time now just is being rolled back. It's just being replayed in our minds. So salvation is a decision made already. Attack and grievances are not there to choose. So this means that we don't have to fight against this illusionary self. Right? We just have to recognize that it's darkness, and that it's already been replaced by light. So attack and grievances are not there to choose. That is why I always choose between truth and illusion, between what is there and what is not. The light has come. I can but choose the light, for it has no alternative. It has replaced the darkness, and the darkness has gone. Right? So that's the idea, that once you go into a dark room, you turn on the light, where's the darkness? The darkness is gone. It's not there anymore to see. And so that light has already replaced it. So the light has come. So there's a lot of peace in that. This is acceptance that we don't have to fight against anything. We don't have to fight against this seemingly attacking self, which is an ego that made up a world and scripts for it, and then it grieves that things didn't turn out, that we didn't get our way, that it didn't make us happy. We don't have to fight against all of that. We just have to recognize that it's there, that it's invented, and it's already gone. We're seeing what's already gone. So I hope that's helpful in making, it sounds weird and abstract, but it's very useful to stop in that moment and recognize, wait a minute, the problem's been solved. Let me accept that it's solved. Let me accept the solution, the forgiveness, the memory of that love that's inside me. Okay, so that's the longer practice period for the first half of the day. And so we want to remember this idea as often as we can. The light has come. So often as we can, and then when upsets come, when problems come, we want to take this idea and apply it to it in some specific way, in some related thought. These words aren't necessarily the ones we would use, but use the concept. So some situation comes up, and we can say, this, there's no carrots in the cabinet, whatever. This cannot show me darkness, for light has come. Or the light in you is all that I would see. And then use the name of that person that we're having conflict. with. I would see in this only what is there. So whenever we're upset, that's a great time to practice. And we want to apply this idea the light has come. All right, so for the second half of the day, we'll take Lesson 76 to review. I'm under no laws but God's. Here is the perfect statement of my freedom. I am under no laws but God's. I am constantly tempted to make up other laws and give them power over me. I suffer only because of my belief in them. They have no real effect on me at all. I am perfectly free of the effects of all laws save God's, and His laws are the laws of freedom. All right, so we want to take the second part of the day, concentrate on this idea that we're not subject to the bondage of time or bondage of seeming physical reality. None of these things are really affecting who we truly are. The only law is the law of love, the law of God, the law that love extended itself, and that's who we are. That's the only law we're under. So we'll take 15 minutes for that latter part of the day, focus our mind on the idea, and then quietly listen inside for the guidance. So here's some specific forms. And so we do that longer practice period, frequent reminder, I'm under no laws but God's, and then if there's an upset, we use a form of the idea. For instance, my perception of this, whatever that event is, shows me I believe in laws that do not exist. Or we could say, I see only the laws of God at work in this. And let me allow laws God's to work in this and not my own. Something like that. Immediately as soon as we've lost our peace, we want to apply this idea, I'm under no laws but God, or whatever form of that idea makes sense to us. Okay, well, that's it for the day. Thank you.